All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of The Sportsmen. As always, Joey D. As always, Mikey V. and myself, The Big Ticket. Gentlemen, we've just been doing one a week recently. I mean, we were going to do a live thing, but everyone was busy this weekend. Couldn't get to it. It feels like I haven't seen you guys in forever. I know you guys were just together, but let's just jump right into that thing. Waste management. Joe, I mean, I know we talked about it on Bob the Sports podcast. I'm sure you're going to talk about it on Brilliantly Dumb, but just a little bit. How was the weekend?
It was wild to say the least. I think on the Saturday, I think Mikey, you had said it was like 500,000 people in attendance. It was truly chaotic in the sense that like we got there on Saturday, you couldn't even move. Like it took us probably a good 30, 40 minutes to get through the crowd to get to where we needed to be. Weather conditions were terrible. And as a result, I think it clogged up the golf course very much so. Because normally, and as I said in the other podcast that we did today for the Bob the Sports Show, is I believe normally there's a lot of people who situate on the grass or up on the hillside. It was all mud, like you couldn't walk on it. So everybody kind of congregated towards the cart path, and it just bottlenecked everything. So it was very congested. Very busy. That being said, it was a lot of fun. We frequented the DraftKings Sportsbook area a lot because of the weather being pretty, spotty especially on the Thursday. We didn't even get to go to the Sweet 16. But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, in a nutshell, I think that, you go on social media and whatnot, they highlight the worst parts of it, the craziness and the fighting and stuff. We didn't see any of that, thankfully. We weren't able to witness any of that stuff, but there was a lot of people getting after it. The crazy thing, Michael, was that they cut off booze sales. Like, yeah, I heard it wasn't even that late. It was like 4:00 and they were doing last call because I guess people were just getting route. Yeah, it had to be earlier. It was crazy. Yeah. That being said, it was a great time. Mikey V's first ever golf tournament for the PGA Tour. We had an unbelievable, probably one of the best suites on the 16th hole you could have been on. And then, on the Wednesday before Mikey got there, we had to partake in a shot on the 16th hole, which for me turned out to be an absolute debauchery. I could not have shanked the ball worse if I tried, but the whole process was pretty freaking awesome. And it's a really good time, and it's a fun tournament to be a part of. And, I will say, and then I'll let Mikey go ahead and talk a little bit, but, Mikey V did these bets where I didn't know you could do this ticket. You can bet an individual golfer to get a hole-in-one on the tournament. Wow. And he bet Scheffler, I think it was like 10,000 to 1.
He almost had that.
And he almost hit one, which would have made him like $13,000. So I didn't know you could do this. Apparently on DraftKings, you could do these little prop bets where you could pick an individual golfer, and because the likelihood of them hitting a hole-in-one is so low that you get these astronomically high odds.
Yeah, what was the odds on Scheffler for that, Mikey?
Oh,
plus 10,000.
Plus 10,000.
And he almost fucking
Mike, that would have been the biggest hit of the year.
He almost did it twice. He did it on Friday too. He almost did it.
The one on Sunday was crazy because that was at the same moment he was really unraveling. I mean, he could not get off the tee box at all. But then all of a sudden on 16, he fucking almost put that thing
inches away.
It was amazing. Mikey, how'd you enjoy yourself? Was this your first golf tournament?
Yeah, it was my first tournament. I mean, listen, it's tough not to enjoy yourself when you have the accommodations that we had at the 16th hole. I will say this: if you're a bystander just going to that tournament in particular, you got to be like 18 to like 25 years old, because I mean, it was a zoo. Like I just don't see how I would have enjoyed myself if we weren't in the situation we were in with, the PGA rep there and the suite. And like, because, for me, like, I'm just like, being older now and like having dealt with massive crowds at sporting events before, and, dealing with the mud and kids that are just piss drunk all over the place. And Joe's right. I didn't see any fights or anything like stupid like that. But I mean, everybody was bombed, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me. But when like you're rubbing up against them and you got to maneuver your way through, and you're sober as a bird doing that, it just gets a little bit uncomfortable at some point. But I mean, once we got up there, man, like what an experience. Like it was just,
awesome.
it really was like the Roman Coliseum watching that hole. It really was like people are so brutal, cheering on the birdies and booing guys that don't make the green on the first shot. And
People who even hit the green are getting booed. It was crazy.
It's just, it's wild, man. It was a wild experience. A lot of fun. The weather banged us on the first day. I wish we could have got out there 2 days in that suite, because that suite, like Joe said, was spectacular. That was definitely the best suite. I mean, we had our own private bartender in the suite. We didn't have to leave it unless you had to go to the bathroom. Wow. And even the bathrooms were like, kind of roped off a little bit where it wasn't a lot of people. It was really, really an incredible experience once you got up there. But getting there, getting up to the suite, getting to the hole, forget getting to the suite, just maneuvering throughout the course to get to the hole you wanted to get to. What an absolute nightmare. Bro.
Getting mobbed by fans too. Bob was getting mobbed. We were getting mobbed. It was like Paul crazy. McCartney. Yeah, we did a meet and greet, and Tick, we had to leave at one point. It was awesome, but we had to leave at one point because we would have been there for 3 hours. Yeah. We were there for like an hour and a half, and it wasn't really dying down. So finally we left, but it's just a cool experience. Because I remember the first time we went, I was saying this, I don't know if it's saying this to Bob, but the first time I went to Waste Management, we didn't even have tickets to get into the 16th hole. And this year we had one of the best suites, and not only that, we're shooting a shot on Wednesday at the 16th hole. We're hanging out. Nick Saban's there, Michael Phelps is there. Like it was truly a scene, which was really cool too, to see like how much like everything's grown within the last year. It was really a cool experience, and I do think that they will get a grip on some of the things that got kind of unraveled a little bit. I think the weather was really a bang job. At the
rate we're going, Joe may be playing in the tournament next year.
That wouldn't be good for anybody.
That would be good for me. It would be good for me. I'd have a good laugh out of it.
Michael, you could put a hole-in-one prop on for me. It'll pay like $5 million to
plus 100,000.
They're not even going to make that bet. They're not even going to offer that.
It's a liability to book that bet.
All it takes is one hole, and they go out of business.
That's correct.
They go out of business.
That's exactly right. Okay. Well, yeah, it was funny watching from afar, because that was the main story, that people were getting into fights, people were drinking like fish, and that it was really a nightmare. That was, at least having not been at the tournament, sort of what the news felt like coming out. So it's good to hear that you guys didn't see anything. It's funny, earlier on the Bob the Sports podcast, Perez made this hilarious analogy. He's like, there's just something that happens with grown men when they get wet, and they just get fucking rowdy. And in my head, I thought that was funny at the time, but then I was thinking, I used to go to a lot of these music festivals like Bonnaroo or like Lollapalooza. I used to do that a lot. And if there was a day that it rained, it's so true. It's like people devolve into this animal just because it's raining and it's wet and it's chaotic, and people just, they act differently. I don't know. It was crazy. It's a good analogy.
Yeah. I just don't have that in me anymore, bro. I don't like, I just don't like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just showing my age, but like, again, going to sporting events or concerts or things like that and being in that position so many times already, I'm just like, it's much nicer to just have a kind of a chill spot. And we definitely had a very chill spot that we were able to just sit back and enjoy it and not be like, have to get crazy like that. Cause like, in order for you to survive that tournament, if you didn't, I mean, you had to be a little fucking nuts, because it was a zoo, man. It was a zoo. My buddy had tickets, general admission. They turned them away. They were turning people away.
Wild. Yeah,
so I mean, it was, and they cut off alcohol on Saturday by like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So our place, the suite, luckily they didn't call last call till 5:30.
Yeah.
But it was just
I didn't hear that detail. That's
that's
special. That's real nice.
It was nice. It was convenient.
Yeah, sure it was.
Nice.
I was also surfing the clouds, so that helped.
Okay. Yeah, that's always a good joke. That's the best joke you can get.
Michael and I had a great
it is.
time.
Yeah,
that's a fun Joseph.
It is the fun. It is the most fun joke.
My.
All right, guys. Well, I know you guys are going to Daytona this weekend. We'll get into that, but let's just dive right into the Super Bowl. Chiefs, hold it out. 25-22 in overtime. Mikey, why don't you walk me through that game? What'd you see there?
Well, I jotted down a couple things that I wanted to touch on about the Super Bowl. Number one, if you bet San Francisco, I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback anybody's wagers. That's not what I do. I know, Joe. I know. I'm not going to do that, but I'm gonna say this. I think people who bet San Francisco, if they didn't receive that as like a touted pick from somebody, like a handicapper or something someone they trust. My whole thing is like, I went back and forth about this game so many times leading up to, but I stuck with what I remember from Championship Sunday. And what I remember from Championship Sunday is going against the Chiefs the second week in a row. I took them the first week to beat Miami and to cover. They did. Then I went against them in the Buffalo game. Then I went against them in the Ravens game. And I thought that the way the Chiefs had won those two games on the road was so much more vastly impressive than what San Francisco had done at home, barely holding on as a touchdown plus favorite back-to-back weeks against a wild card Packer team and a Detroit team that, to be quite honest, I didn't think either of those teams was a total complete team as much as the Bills and the Ravens were. So to me, I just stuck to that. I just did not allow that feeling I had on Sunday at the conclusion of the championship games to leave me. And I think a lot of people over the 2-week period leading up to the Super Bowl just overthought it. I think people overthought it, and they were like, well, Christian McCaffrey's going to, well, Deebo Samuel's going to, well, Ayuk and Kittle and Bosa and Trent Williams. And yes, they are a team of all-stars. There's no question. But at the end of the day, this Chiefs team is like watching Brady and Gronkowski. Mahomes and Kelsey are the modern Brady and Gronkowski, and Andy Reid's the modern Belichick in terms of his winning with Patrick. And until they're dethroned in that game, and they were by only the greatest, Tom Brady's the only one who was able to do it, and it took a decimated Chiefs offensive line and Tom Brady to do it. It's just never a wise thing to bet against Kansas City in the playoffs. It just never is. If Mahomes is playing, I'd rather
especially as an underdog.
I'd rather die on another sword. I would rather die on another sword than die on that one. I'd rather pick against any team in any other game. Now, Super Bowl, you only got one game, you only got one choice, but there was just no way that I could see myself going against Mahomes. The 49ers not being prepared in overtime, not knowing the rules of the new overtime is inexcusable. And to be frank, Andy Reid is a better coach than Shanahan. And Shanahan now has blown big leads in the Super Bowl 3 times or 4 times, whatever it is, 3 times, I think. Double-digit leads. Obviously, that one when he was in Atlanta, everyone knows about 28-3. The last time they played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, he had a 10-point lead. He had another double-digit lead last week. So Shanahan, to me, is just, it's starting to get a little questionable over there with him. And yes, he's a great coach. He's a great play caller, but something in that biggest of big moments, something shrinks. And, that's a concern if I'm a 49ers fan. It's a concern because, man, oh, man, they get right to the summit and they just can't get to the absolute peak for whatever reason. And then the last thing I'll say is that Mahomes is approaching that territory now where you could legitimately hand this guy the MVP trophy every single season. He could win it you could give him, and that's how I felt about Brady a lot. At the end of the day, this guy's the most valuable guy in the league. He is, period. Yeah. You wouldn't name another player you would rather have than him, correct? Right now, today, you'd rather, if you were starting a team, you could have any player, you have the first overall pick. Everyone and their mother picks Patrick Mahomes. You could give him the MVP every single year. You're not going to, but he's in that territory now, and this team's only going to be better next year. I got bad news for you. If any year was the year to crack them, it was this year. They're going to be better next year. Very scary.
Joey D?
Yeah, everything you said is correct. I don't doubt any of that. I think the one thing that he didn't touch on, and I think it deserves to be said because they did it throughout the entirety of the playoffs, and for a majority of the season when the offense was struggling, the Kansas City defense looked unbelievable, and they just make timely plays again and again and again, whether it's Snead or it's Chris Jones causing. How many times did Chris Jones cause an interruption where there should have been a touchdown, made, but he was right there about to sack Purdy, and it threw him off. Like, I tell you what, Trent Williams had a terrible game, I thought. He was holding, he was getting beat, and he's arguably the best offensive lineman in the league. I just thought that the defense, they came up huge. And you saw Kansas City started out this game looking really, they did not look very good on offense. They looked like they were stagnant. They couldn't find their legs. They couldn't do anything. And that defense, I know they gave up a couple scores early on, but then they clamped down and they got some turnovers. They made some big timely stops. And it felt like San Francisco really had a chance early on to establish a huge lead where they could have really put the game a little bit out of reach.
Yeah.
And they couldn't convert. They couldn't score. They had the first drive down where they go and the McCaffrey fumbles. The second drive they go and then they get holding after holding, penalty after penalty. So that backs them up. And then there was another drive where they're down there and then they ended up having to punt. So I thought that the Kansas City defense was really, I don't know if they got the credit that they deserve. And obviously Mahomes is the MVP. But I just thought Spagnuolo did a great job and really keeping
He is the best modern day big game defensive coordinator in the league. He has been since he was with the Giants, and he continues to be with the Chiefs. And they don't have Kansas City doesn't have a superstar studded defense, with these big names everywhere. I mean, Chris Jones, of course, he's the number one. He's going to be the number one free agent this year in the offseason. Snead, I guess, but it's not like these guys have a TJ Watt or a Nick Bosa or a premier Nick. They just play great team defense. And Spagnuolo is just a master schemer. That's what he is. He's just a master schemer. I mean, look at the one touchdown San Francisco scored. They had to run a double pass fake to McCaffrey to score that touchdown. Like it wasn't like they were just, going right down the field and just dominant. In the beginning, like Joe said, San Francisco, all the momentum was with the Niners. And they were 3-and-outing the Chiefs with regularity. They were flying around the ball. Big moment in that game when Dre Greenlaw tore his Achilles going onto the field. Because
how does that even happen?
Now, he is the name that's forgotten on that defense behind Bosa and Fred Warner and
Warner looked great.
And Hufanga before he got hurt for the season. That is that is the guy on that defense that keeps that defense. He's like the heartbeat of that defense. I felt like once he went out, some of the pilot light in that defense, their intensity kind of went out along with him because he was flying around. He made a tackle on Kelce, man. You don't see tackles like that on Travis Kelce that often. He did like a Hulk smash on top of Jerick McKinnon's helmet after he tackled him in the first quarter. Just that was a brutal blow for San Francisco. And even worse, you got a 27-year-old linebacker who's an absolute stud. Now he's likely going to miss next season because he tore the Achilles so late. Tore it in February.
Was it torn Achilles?
Torn Achilles. Torn Achilles.
He was running off the field. How does that even happen?
Yeah,
well, he had been injured all season. He had been off and on injured all season.
When you play that kind of style football, those type of guys, man, it's tough to stay healthy because these guys have no regard for their body. I mean, they just throw their body in anything. And there's a couple guys in the league like that, and there always has been. And those guys tend to get dinged up a lot. But, man, when they're on the field, they are important, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a wild game, man. It was really a snooze fest the first half. And then thankfully it kind of picked up and got exciting towards the end.
I'd agree with that.
But I love
it when you got the under, I love it.
Oh, well, yeah. But if you're watching as an objective observer, it was just it was kind of weak to start out. I will say that you just felt like once Kansas City came back, even at the end of the game, I thought they were going to win at the end of the game. I really thought that they were going to win before the game ended. And they're like, wow, they held them. And then San Francisco got the ball and they were just marching down the field in overtime. I'm like, they're going to score a touchdown. Again, they got just stalemated. They couldn't score. They couldn't make a big play. And then it was like, okay, well, Mahomes is going to get it. You have a perennially good quarterback when a field goal is pretty much a guarantee on a big drive. I'm like, dude, they're not going to stop him. Every time it was fourth down, he was running. This guy just takes over the game. He just refuses to lose.
Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. and who's the other? And Aaron Rodgers. Those are the quarterbacks that I always thought if they had the ball at the end of the game, you lose. If they have a chance, you're just going to lose. Like they just go down the field so easily. And those are the 4 guys off the top of my head that I always just had that feeling about. You know what's interesting? It would have been really funny since San Francisco really thought that a touchdown would have ended the game. Had they scored a touchdown, if they started celebrating like the game was over. Like if they had scored a touchdown, would they have won?
Did they all think that, or it was just a couple guys?
All of them, they never went over it. They said, Chuck said they never had discussed it ever. They never had discussed it, which is, I mean, look, odds that the game's going to go to overtime are so slim, like very, very slim. Odds on it are astronomically high that it's not going to, but I mean, you got to at least talk about it.
So did they not understand the rules, or did they just not game plan for it? They knew how overtime worked.
They did not know the new playoff overtime rule where each team gets a possession no matter what.
So you're probably better to defer in that case anyways.
Of course. The referee asked him, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
The referee asked him, "Are you sure?" That's how you know you fucked up.
Because if you go on defense, you make a stop and you score, you win.
Game's over.
If they score a touchdown, you can still score.
San Francisco took the ball because they thought, you know, if we give the Chiefs the ball and they score a touchdown, game's over. Vice versa, if we score a touchdown, the game's over. That's why I'm saying, had San Fran scored that touchdown, that might have been one of the more comedic scenes you've ever seen. They would have been ripping the helmets off, storming the field. That would have been insane. Insane. So, but it didn't happen, obviously. And the Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions yet again. And what really boggles my mind is that next year, the Chiefs are still not the favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. It's the Niners. I just don't get it. I don't get it. What am I missing? I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like there was multiple times within the Sportsman podcast where we just said throughout the year, this is not the same Chiefs team.
It's not.
They don't have it. This team isn't good. And then how they repeat.
Mahomes in the playoffs.
It's
Mahomes
just
in the playoffs.
It wasn't just the playoffs. It wasn't
the same team, but it was the same quarterback and the same head coach.
Look at the game at the end of the year.
That's all.
Was it the last game of the season against the Bengals? Like that team looked like they
shit the bed.
won.
The first half they were getting ripped by the third string quarterback for Cincinnati, and then second half they came back and won the game. But the first half they got shut out.
Butker kicked like 5 field goals.
By the way, Harrison Butker, that might have been the lock of the century, the over 1.5 field goals, because this guy can kick it from the 50. I mean,
he had a 57
line. He is a unit. That guy is, and he's clutch. And you know what? I know everyone's going to say Justin Tucker right now, I'll take Harrison Butker over Justin Tucker today.
Wow.
Not saying
that's got to be recency bias, man.
He's been doing it for a couple of years now, Tick. I mean, he's one of the best.
But
in
Justin
the business.
Tucker's shown no signs.
I feel like Tucker's stock is going down, and I feel like Butker's rise.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, Tucker's been at the top of the fucking pyramid for a long time.
A long time.
All right, guys, 2024 is here in full swing, and that means it's time for our New Year's resolution check-in with our good friends over at Manscaped. It's never too late to level up your grooming game and keep your bush tamed, gentlemen. Keep your bush tamed, okay? Manscaped's new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Guys, I had to have my own check-in, okay? I had to look at myself in the mirror, need a haircut. I'm letting myself go here a little bit, but the beard is always looking good for as much as I have one, and that's because of Manscaped's new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Whether you're going for a trim or that clean-shaven look, this trimmer has you covered. Trusted by over 10 million men worldwide, now is your time to get a grip on your grooming with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code SportsmanPod20. That's code SportsmanPod20 for 20% off plus free shipping. Okay? The ball is dropped, but don't drop the ball on your balls. Manscaped to the moon. That's the one thing about the Chiefs, man, and I really think it's Andy Reid, is they throughout these whole playoffs, most this year, we were just talking about a game last year, they always start slow. Always. They can't come out and put their foot on the throat. And that has been Andy Reid forever, man. He doesn't get teams ready, but they rally in the second half. Yeah, it would be nice. I imagine if you're a Kansas City fan, if they didn't have to make as many adjustments because they were just ready to begin with. But who gives a fuck? They've won 3 now. What, they've been to 4? I mean,
I will say on another note, I'd like to see Andy Reid kind of tighten the reins a little bit. Like the fact that Kelsey was bumping him and screaming in his ear, that just can't happen in a Super Bowl. Like, I mean, that to me was
He's had a lot more
wild.
antics this year with him fucking with Justin Tucker, his helmet and stuff, and like he's really been feeling himself.
said
He's
on
been
his
feeling very comfortable.
He said on his podcast that he was out of line to do that. He said that
Okay.
it was unacceptable. But like, I just think that like Andy Reid, sometimes he kind of lets his shit go. He doesn't really like, God, I mean, what, it doesn't matter. I mean, they won the Super Bowl. So who,
Like, could you imagine him doing that to like Belichick? No.
oh my God.
Or like Parcells? Never. Never.
No.
Would never happen. Would never.
Belichick would
He'd
fucking
bench
throw
him.
him his ass
He
off
would
the
bench
fucking
him. He would
field.
literally bench him. He would lose the Super Bowl just to bench him. He would.
Yeah.
He would. But again, same old. And I got to tell you, I had the eeriest feeling watching that Super Bowl, watching Mahomes and Kelsey operate late. It was exactly like Brady and Gronkowski. Just unstoppable. Literally nobody, you couldn't do anything. They could not do anything when push came to shove. It's the same exact thing. It's deja vu. It's Groundhog Day, whatever you want to call it. That's exactly what it is. You're witnessing the new Patriots. I never thought in my lifetime that could ever happen again. Short enough, not even 10 years later, and we're watching it. I mean, it's actually sickening. It's sickening because we're going to sit here. We're going to have to deal with this. Just sit back and relax, because maybe you'll knock them off 1 year out of 3, 1 year out of 4, but I don't see the train slowing down anytime soon. I don't. They got rid of the best, I won't say the best. They got rid of possibly the most dynamic playmaking wide receiver in football, and they won the Super Bowl back-to-back years without him. And their best target this year was Marquise Valdez-Scantling or Rashae Rice. What's going to happen when they actually get a receiver? They can go get T. Higgins. They can go get T. Higgins.
Very good.
Okay, Rashae Rice is a nice story, Joe. But what happens when they bring in a legit one like a T. Higgins? What's going to happen then?
That's a problem.
It's a real problem. That's it. Oh, my.
Yeah. How about Taylor Swift first year ever just even watching
Must
football?
be nice. Must be nice. I've been watching
Yeah,
since
you
Super
know
Bowl.
what?
I've been
Some
watching.
people have it all,
38
Michael.
fucking
Some
years,
people
man.
have it all.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding, man.
Some people just got the world by the balls, and she's one of them.
And
She's
some people have
got it by the
nothing.
cojones.
Yeah, she sure does.
Some people do have nothing. You're right. You got to put it all in perspective. But I've been waiting for a Super Bowl for 38 years, and this girl got one the first in 3 months. She got one.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Some might say she contributed to the quote unquote rig job.
Yeah.
The narrative, as some would say.
The script. The script.
The old NFL
Taylor
script.
script.
Taylor script. Oh, wow.
Oh.
I can't believe football's done, by the way. I can't believe
it sucks.
So depressing.
This is now. We are in the dead zone of,
the
sports.
the dog days.
Like we got March Madness to look forward to, which is
that's gonna be great.
wonderful.
That's gonna be fun.
great.
By the way, Breezy Lounge will be there all together in New York watching
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's the first time hearing of that, but that's
Oh,
nice.
you'll be there.
You'll be
Okay.
there.
Okay.
You bet your ass you'll be there.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Okay.
be there for I think it's the 22nd. Like the first couple days, we're gonna be
Good.
there.
Good, because I was
Um,
gonna say she's okay. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
you'll be there.
Good.
And then it's like you got like NBA playoffs, hockey playoffs, and then it's just like it's the baseball
Then-
wasteland.
Yeah, I'm excited for baseball season though.
Me too. I'm excited.
Yeah, because the
this year.
Yankees are gonna be good. That's why.
Well, there's that, and just I like to bet baseball, believe it or not. I find that team total runs scored in X amount of innings to be one of the more exciting bets in all of baseball.
Okay.
I love it. In
I
all
actually
sports.
was very successful in baseball this year, probably more than anything else.
There you
Because
go.
my guy just knows baseball. I
There you go.
couldn't tell you.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. Gentlemen, let's just really quickly go over the OT rules. We sort of briefly touched on them, but is this something you like? Do you like this more than the old version? Is there still more tweaking to do? I know a few weeks ago, Mikey said it should be exactly like college, which I agree with, except
moving back to the
20
50.
yards back.
The
Yeah,
50.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, the 50.
I agree. But is this better? Is this a better way
Yes.
of doing things than the last?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I thought it was better too, to be honest. I thought it was more interesting. The old rules just sucked, man. It put way too much value on the coin toss. I thought it would put way too much stock on that.
Absolutely. 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 I listen, You can't, especially in the playoffs. Thank God they made this change, because in the playoffs, I mean, you cannot have a game end because the team that wins the coin toss goes and scores a touchdown. The game is over.
Yeah.
Now, Tiki Barber argued on WFAN New York radio this week that it de-emphasizes the critical nature of playing the clock and having to
I
play
agree
the
with
clock,
that.
the restraints of the clock. And I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, again, like in the Super Bowl, especially, like, God forbid that one team just, if the Niners scored that touchdown to go down and like, that's it, the game's over. I mean, I guess, but I'll say this. I get it, but I do prefer it where each team gets the ball at least once. I do prefer that.
How
where
long
each
would it
team
have
gets a
gone
shot.
till?
15
Like, how
minutes,
long-
and then they would have gone to double overtime.
They would have went to double overtime.
Yeah. Which, okay, how about this? What about you just play an entire quarter, another quarter, or 10
And just
minutes
play
if that's too
just
long?
play a quarter out and see who wins at the end of the quarter.
Exactly. So then clock is still a part of the
That's
game.
not bad at all,
Timeouts is
Tick. That's not bad at all.
another full
Because
quarter.
I guess maybe they don't want to have to play the whole quarter if they don't have to.
Or
maybe
just
they
10
don't
minutes.
wanna-
Maybe you make it 10 or 7. Well,
Yeah.
7 minutes you're getting on
Seven,
someone
yeah, seven's
for
tough.
the whole thing.
You could, yeah, they could eat the whole clock. I mean,
Which
7
the
minutes.
one team almost did. Was it the Niners or the Chiefs? When the Chiefs got the ball, I think
They barely had time.
Yes, 7-8 minutes had been knocked off. So maybe just a full quarter or 10 minutes or 12 minutes. I don't know. I do agree with Tiki that I did feel like the clock management aspect was missing.
Any other sport though, Tick, you're right. Any other sport, you got overtime in the playoffs, it just keeps going until somebody ends up winning. I think
Yeah.
that's how it should be.
I
You
agree.
know, the only exception is soccer used to be golden goal. Now they went to the shootout.
Yeah, yeah, golden goal was terrible.
But it was kind of cool when somebody would score, but it could just go on forever.
Yeah, well, that was actually the kind of cool thing, because shootouts, as we know, are just a total crapshoot. I mean, a penalty shootout's a total crapshoot. I mean, listen, it behooved Italy the last time they were in a major tournament, but it's still a total crapshoot.
We also won on a shootout.
That's what I'm saying. It was beneficial to them.
Is it
But
a
it doesn't
crapshoot,
make it
though?
right.
What makes it a crap
penalty
shoot?
shootout?
Because the
Because
goal
it's
is
so
just guessing.
impossible to save.
It's
a
nerve
penalty
wracking,
kick.
man.
Yeah.
It's so nerve
But
wracking.
it's all about anyway. Yeah. Okay.
But
Fair
no,
enough.
we also
I-
lost
you know
one,
more about
Mikey,
than I do.
when Baggio skied it over
please,
Brazil
I
against
know.
Brazil in U.S. territory, in
I
U.S.
know.
land, man. By the way, you got the Meadowlands going to have a fucking World Cup
That's
final.
correct. Yes, I know. It's gonna
That
be
is
wild.
unbelievable.
Right.
You gotta get tickets.
I know. I gotta see what I could do there. I will say this final thing about overtime. I do still think college football overtime is the most exciting. I've seen games go to 5 overtimes, 6 overtimes. They changed the rules after the second
You gotta
OT.
go for 2.
You got to go for 2. So I just think that the NFL should, I don't know why they don't take a look at that. And then each offense starts from the 50 and you try and match. I mean, I know these kickers are good. So if you gain 10 yards, odds are the kicker may be able to make that kick. But even still, a 50-something yarder is no gimme, even if you are an NFL kicker. So, but I guess that's never going to be in the cards. I think they're going to keep this rule. I'd be surprised if you see it get changed anytime soon. They already recently changed it. I think you're going to be locked into this overtime format in the playoffs for a while.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, good stuff, guys. Let's move on here. Mr. Anderson has Tony Romo, good or bad? Let's just keep this one quick, but I'm interested because all this guy does now is catch shit about how shitty he is and how he doesn't seem to do his research. He's just going with the flow. He sounds like he's drinking a beer in there. Who knows if any of that's true? But do you like him? Is he good or bad?
I think he's good. I like him. I have no issues with him. He called a couple plays during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I heard him call a couple plays and he watched the formation. He watched an audible. He said that a blitzer was coming and sure as shit, the guy came. I mean, you know, the guys that are criticizing Romo doesn't know what he's doing. They're the same guys that never played a single snap of organized football, or the highest level they ever played in was in high school. So, I mean, I think Romo brings a lot to the booth. I do. I think he's cool. I think he's funny. I think him and Nance are very funny together. Like, what are you looking for exactly? Like, do you want to be in like a library where it's like super serious? I think they're so funny together. I think they're great.
I thought the commentary was terrible for the Super Bowl.
Whoa!
Here's why. It's not all your points are valid. Like, he's very knowledgeable. There was no excitement. It was the last play of the game. They're like, this will be for the Super Bowl. It's like, what are we doing? You know what
I
used
like
to-
the call. Nance's call was good. Jackpot. Kansas City, they're in Vegas.
By
Jackpot.
the way, I love
Very
Jim
clever.
Nantz. He made a bunch of mistakes that
He's
he made
Jim,
a bunch.
Jim's getting old, man. Jim's
he
getting
made-
old, dude. He's getting
He's
old.
the,
Like
he's,
that's what
he's the
happens
best
to
to
those
ever do
guys,
it, but
dude.
he made some real errors.
I mean, listen, Nance is getting up there, man, and that's what happened to these. That's what happened to these guys. I mean, you listen to Keith Jackson when he did college. Keith Jackson was the voice of college football. He was the best to ever do it, like Joe said. And then towards the end, the last couple games he called, like he legitimately couldn't see what was going on. He was calling
Yeah, it was
the wrong
bad.
plays.
It was bad. So let's go to Super Bowl commercials. Okay, Mike, if you're
Oh,
going to
boy.
keep this one quick as well. Did you? I thought it was one of the worst Super Bowl commercial years of all time. I didn't
I
like
agree. None
almost any
really
of them.
stuck out for me, really.
No.
No. My wife enjoyed a couple, I guess, but I really didn't really pay attention. I really
Yeah,
didn't
people
pay
like the
attention.
Dunkin' ones just because
That was pretty good.
People go crazy for a Boston accent and Dunkin' coffee. It's just a free throw. It's just
Sure.
easy money. And then also, dude, I don't know if it was my TV when it came to the national anthem and when it came to Usher, it sounded like his mic was low. Like I couldn't hear him that well. I really had to listen. It was like when you're in a high school and you go see a band in high school and the instruments are always way louder than the guy trying to sing.
Right.
It sounded kind of like that. That might have been my TV. I don't know if you had the same experience.
Yeah, I listen, the Super Bowl is my least favorite playoff game for a reason. Unless my team's playing it, I've been saying this for years. If your team's not playing in the Super Bowl, I just don't find the experience enjoyable. The halftime show, I really like. Once in a while, I guess I'll enjoy it. Like, of course, I liked a couple songs that Usher did. No problem with that. But it's just it's a fiasco. It's a production. It's a show more than it is about the football itself. So for me, like, I'm not a big Super Bowl guy. I just don't like it. I don't enjoy it. It's the last game of the year, which is depressing enough, but I much prefer Championship Sunday, AFC, NFC championship games, wild card Saturday, divisional round Saturday. I love the playoff Saturday blocks. Those are like my favorite, but then Championship Sunday to me is so much better than Super Bowl Sunday. You get two games and it's less of a production, more about football.
The Super Bowl is just a big commercialized.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
I saw there was a commercial. I think it was for T-Mobile. It started out terribly, but then Jason Momoa was in it, and I thought he was hysterical. He started singing, and he did the whole J-Lo thing. Do you remember that commercial, Tick?
Oh, with the Scrubs guys?
Yeah. He pulled the thing. The water came down on him. He was singing and dancing. I thought it was wild, and I thought he was very good. So. That was one that I remembered. I to be honest, I was kind of muting it like on the commercials and just kind of like just doing my own thing.
It was a good year to mute it. I couldn't give you one that I thought was a dead ringer. Usually Bud Light has good
Doritos
ones.
normally has good ones.
Doritos normally has. They all. And you know what? The other thing too is a lot of these companies used to hire just commercial actors and make it a funny script. Now it's like you have to have a celebrity involved.
Dude, there was
Every
a Michelob
commercial.
Ultra commercial that had like Leo Messi and like 7 other guys in it. Dan Marino was in it. Like there was like, I was like, what was the budget on that?
Yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
It was wild. It was like a minute and a half long. It felt like
it was good.
It was outrageous. I was like, the production that they had to pay for this, just imagine Leo Messi by himself. I'm like, oh my God.
Dan Marino was in about 15 commercials. He was in almost every single one. It was unbelievable. And talk about a guy who's like, respect the talent, but he's a little cheesy, Dan Marino. He's a little tough to take. Respect the guy. Seems like a nice guy, a little cheesy. All right, guys, let's move on here. We got the Hall of Fame. We got our guys, Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson, Julius Peppers, Patrick Willis, Randy Gradishar, and Steve McMichael. Any issues there? Do we like it? Do we not like it? Anyone who maybe shouldn't have made it and did make it?
No, the Hall of Fame is, again, there's a lot of politics in the Hall of Fame. I don't have any issues. I mean, I thought Hester should have made it. I thought he should have made it first ballot. He didn't, and he didn't make it last year again. So I'm glad
first ballot.
No, he didn't. He didn't. You know, McMichael apparently is in like real dire straits. He's very sick. He's had MS now for years, and apparently tonight he got rushed to the hospital. So I don't even know if Steve McMichael is going. Certainly, he wasn't going to make the Hall of Fame induction ceremony to begin with, but now I'm a little more concerned. But Peppers is a monster.
Oh,
Um,
he played
he
for
was-
both our teams, Michael.
Sure did. And you know, I don't have any issues with it. I don't have any issues with it.
Kawhi Freeney
Again,
was
very
also a
political.
monster when he played.
Freeney was a monster with the Colts. I mean, he was one of the reasons they actually won a Super Bowl, and he was so great. I think he was bookended with Robert Mathis, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he
the other
was.
end of
Yes.
them.
True.
Yes,
And
he was.
they were a duo. They were a
They
very
sure were.
formidable duo to deal with on that D line for Indy. But yeah, the Hall of Fame's, you know, it's very political. There's some that are absolute no brainers and obvious, but you know, this year I think it's a good class. I think it's a good class. You know, 3 Bears, so I'm not going to complain about that for sure. But
Joey D, any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, no, like I said, I rarely have any complaints about Hall of Fame inductees. I think for a while, remember when T.O. couldn't get in? I thought that was ridiculous. But aside from that, most of these players that they have going in, they're all, you know, monumentally good in their era. So no issues on my end.
Yeah, the only one I had a hesitation about, and the talent was Hall of Fame, was just Andre Johnson. Because I remember he was great when he was playing, but he got hurt a lot, and it just made he's the only one that I looked at and thought maybe I don't know.
He kind of dominated for a while.
Did he was great. He really did. That's why I said the talent.
Who did he have throwing the ball to him? That's the other thing.
That's a good point. Yeah,
David
nobody.
Carr. That's like I mean,
Yep.
guy got sacked more times than who God even knows. Man. It was terrible.
terrible.
All right, gentlemen, let's talk one more thing and then we'll move on to who's a problem. You guys are heading to Daytona 500, kicking off the NASCAR season. Always, I've been to a handful of NASCAR races. I love them. It's been a long time, but NASCAR or Daytona 500 rather is, you know, that's the event. That and probably the Talladega 500. Those are the 2 big ones. It's going to be a blast. Are you guys getting excited? Joey D, how you feel about this thing?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We get to
Yeah.
go in one of the race cars, Tick, like the
What?
It's
Yeah,
not the pace car.
Pace
on
car,
Sunday
yeah.
morning. Yeah.
So we got to go on
That's cool.
Sunday
Sunday at 7 a.m. We got to be there 6:45, and the
Yeah.
thing's going like 120 or 130 miles an hour around
That's cool.
track.
I'd
So
be
we get
shocked
to
if-
go
I'd be
in
shocked
there.
if Perez makes that shot.
I'm going to do an IG live while I'm in there. I might just go live, just me going
Sure.
around the track. They're probably going to have to put a helmet on us or something.
I'm very concerned. I don't even know if
Michael
I'm gonna
was like,
fit
you
in the
know, I
car."
got back issues.
Yeah, I told the guy straight out, and I said, I don't know if I'm going to fit in this car, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure.
And then we're golfing with a bunch of the racers, which is going to be cool too.
What? Who are you going with? Do you know?
I sent it out.
Yeah,
Hold on.
we're
Give me one
going with,
second. I have.
I would bet Danny
we're going-
Hamlin's one of them.
we're going with
Here it is. So
Danny Hemrick,
on.
Harrison Burton,
Daniel Hamrick, Harrison
Todd
Burton,
Gillian,
Todd
Ryan
Gillian.
Blaney, and Bubba Wallace.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's the C team, but it, you know,
Wow.
it's, I mean, it is.
Wow.
You know, you're looking for your Austin Dillons, your Kevin Harvicks, your Matt
I mean,
Kenseths.
Austin Dillon, I could meet that guy in 2 seconds. That's Swan's driver.
We're gonna meet Paul Swan.
Swan's on his pit crew, that guy. So,
Yeah, no, I'm just, you're not.
I have no
golfing.
interest in meeting Austin Dillon. He rooted against me vehemently in the Peloton.
Yeah,
I
he
really-
rooted
he's
for his
gotta-
guy.
Gotta root for his guy, Mikey.
Yeah.
but I didn't have a guy live with me cheering me on next to me on my bike.
It was
I think
supposed
a
to be
little
Bob.
ridiculous. I mean, I don't think Bob was going to fly out from California to watch me Peloton. That would have been.
You should have
wild.
had Gas or one of those guys, or Luna Lou go in.
Yeah, you should have. You should, or little Dom. You should have had Dom there cheering you.
No,
on.
Dom could
Dom-
give 2 fucks.
Well, that's gonna be
I-
exciting, man.
It's gonna be fun. I actually am really excited to see Mike V again. I thought this
Wow.
last trip was weak. I could not stop laughing.
Me and Joe
we
were just
have-
laughing.
We had so much fun. we were just, just cloud surfing, having a blast. It was just, dude, I'm telling you, there's nothing better than a little cloud surf and
With
ball.
get a couple bets. And by the way, thank God we're going to be East Coast again. We could bet into the wee hours of the morning. I don't have to worry about this everything. Because the problem with, I tell you what, I could never, ever make it on the West Coast, dog. I could never make it because if the last bet I could place is 9 o'clock at night, that's awful, dude. Do you know how awesome it is to sit in my basement on college football Saturday and I'm still firing in at midnight, 1 o'clock, live betting 1:30 in the morning? This is horse shit. 9 o'clock. The last game tips off at 9. It's horrible, Ticket. It's horrible. I don't know how you do it. Terrible. I could never.
He's going to be with us. He's going to be with us.
Not in Daytona, but I will be with you
but
guys.
soon to be on the East Coast.
Yes, and we
Sure.
need that. Allegedly,
Well,
we don't know.
no, I'm already here.
We haven't seen one single.
Well, you're
person
not
move to
with
Florida
me.
yet.
No,
You're
but
not over here yet.
but I am on the East Coast. I'm firmly on the East Coast. But yeah, you're right. I'm not there with you, Joe. Hopefully soon. It's dude, fucking moving's daunting, bro. It's
moving
fucking
sucks.
Oh, dude, I got banged so bad on this move.
the
man.
applications, the last month's rent, the furnishing, the everything, man. It's a fucking daunting ass I'm frightened. I'm frightened about this, to
Don't
be
be
honest.
frightened.
You should do like Yaman and he just travels with one suitcase and nothing else. That's it.
Well, that's what's gonna happen is I'm gonna show up in an apartment and there's just gonna be nothing in there. And I'm gonna
Yaman jumped in my SUV to go to the airport from Arizona the morning I left. I had like an SUV like set up to pick me up and shit. And he fucking jumped in and it was just him in that gigantic fucking podcast equipment suitcase, man.
Oh,
gotta
the
tell you,
Pelican.
I really
Pelican.
I feel for him having to lug
That's
that
normally
fucking thing there.
tickets.
No, that's
normally
my
tickets.
job.
Yeah, that's tough, Tick.
That's why his
sucks.
back's
That's
broken.
tough, man. That's
Bro.
tough. I could never with my back. I'd be in trouble.
Well, that's why I'm in bad shape, bro. That's why I got an MRI next week, by the way.
Do you really?
Oh,
I do. I got an
no,
MRI
Tick.
coming up.
On the back?
Yeah, they think it's a slip disc pinched nerve.
Oh yeah, please.
That's
I'm having-
not good.
Because I'm
man.
having all kinds of leg pain, and they think it.
Oh,
yeah,
you having tingling?
No, I'm not
Oh.
having. I'm having a little bit of. I'm having a little bit of tingling.
That's not good, Tick.
I
That
know
ain't
it's
good.
hence
That
the
ain't good,
MRI,
Joe.
brother.
That ain't good. Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Get
more
that
to the
looked at.
point is the extreme pain in the back of my calf. That's a little bit more concerning to me.
Right.
It just feels like it's constantly tight. I'm limping around right now. It's not good. I'm in bad
No,
shape. I hope it's
no.
not nerve damage, but we'll see. Luckily my job is sitting on a couch and editing the show, so I'll still have a job. Might need to hire a new camera guy though.
Oh.
Anyway, we'll see. Hopefully it's all good. Hopefully it's just a little stiffness, hopefully it's that. But let's move on, guys. Let's go to who's a problem. Joey D, who is your problem this week?
I kind of toggled back and forth with who my problem was going to be, and I think my problem is going to be. No, who I should take here. I think the problem is going to be. I don't know. I had a couple. I'm like toggling back and forth who I'm going to go with. I'll just go with the obvious one. I think that my problem is just the entire Kansas City Chiefs, man. It's just it's too obvious, but it has to be said. It's the same thing as when the Patriots had a dynasty. It's just, now on the one hand, I do like Kelsey and Mahomes. I met them. They're great guys. I appreciate them. I actually really like Andy Reid too, but it's just, man, like you just want to see some parity. You want to see some parity. And normally the NFL is the best league of all sports for parity, in which you have, a new team every year coming in and winning and making an impact. And I agree with what Michael said earlier. I think that this could be another year or two where we're seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl winning again. And I appreciate dynasties and I respect it. I wish I could have a dynasty of my own for my team, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. But it's just, man, it just gets old a little bit, it's just like it's like the rich getting richer, it's like that whole thing. It's where it's just like, You want to see a team like, I'd love to see Lamar win a Super Bowl, or I'd love to see, I'd love to see a team like the Lions go to the Super Bowl and win it. That to me would be really cool. And it's just, I think the problem is when you get a quarterback that's generationally good, like Patrick Mahomes is, it changes the entire dynamics of the rest of the league. And, I'm happy for him, but at the same time, like Mikey's right. This was the worst team they've had in years, and they're still better than everybody else. So they're absolutely a problem.
Mikey V, who's the problem?
The only two teams to beat them in the AFC title game is Brady and Burrow. And, that's not good, because there's no more Tom Brady's left in this league. And Joe Burrow, hopefully he does bounce back. I think since he would have had a good year had he not gotten hurt. But that's a concern. My problem this week is Coach Shanahan from the Niners. You look at a guy, I touched on it earlier, all these blown leads in Super Bowl games, the biggest games, Niners, the best rosters, bar none, by far in the league. And, it's just he's not able to get over that hump, and then to fire Steve Wilkes the day after.
I can't believe that.
Now, listen, a lot of Niner fans were bitching about Steve Wilkes all year, and I'm not gonna doubt that. I actually did agree that their defense should have played better at the end of the stretch there. They weren't generating any pass rush with the front four anymore. He wasn't adjusting from that and saying, okay, I got to bring blitzers because my front four. Now in the Super Bowl, totally different story. Chase Young played with his hair on fire. Nick Bosa played with his hair on fire. Eric Armstead was making plays, totally different. But I mean, the guy was there one season, man. What are we doing? They won the NFC. They went to the Super Bowl. This guy loses his job. I mean, Kyle Shanahan, like take a look in the mirror, pal. Like, you're the one who's been there, and you're the one who keeps blowing these double-digit leads in the Super Bowl. Not Wilkes, not Steve Wilkes. He didn't blow the lead. You blew the lead. You're the head coach. You take responsibility, and that's your scapegoat, firing a D coordinator his first year after the defense, by the way, did a pretty great job, all things considered, on Mahomes for the majority of that game.
Yeah, they did.
Of course, Mahomes is going to Mahomes at the end of the day, but what about your star-studded, unstoppable, scheming offense that I saw one trick play that was great, and then you rode McCaffrey as much as you could ride him for the rest of the game. You didn't get the ball to Deebo Samuel. You didn't get the ball to Brandon Ayuk. You didn't get the ball to George Kittle. What are we doing here? I just think it's a huge scapegoat. And it's really unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. Steve Wilkes, I hope he lands a job somewhere, because I think he deserves it. I think he deserved another year, man. Like, that's just dirty. If he was there a couple years, even tick, maybe I could understand. He was there 3 years, 4 years. It was his first season. Guy goes to the Super Bowl. Come on, man. Come on. That's garbage.
Well, it seems pretty obvious that Kyle Shanahan's trying to make you look over here so you don't look over here, because all the heat was coming his way, and he had to throw someone under the bus there.
Man, oh man, I don't know if that was the guy to do it to. Fire a quarterback coach or something like that. I don't know. Pick somebody else, man. Like, I don't know. That was dirty in my opinion, but
no, I hear you. My problem this week is going to be Nick Taylor, the winner of the WM Phoenix
Canadian kid.
Yeah, seems like a nice guy. Absolutely fucked me on Sunday. Had a midday bet on Charlie Hoffman, and this guy was just a fucking cockroach, man. Nick Taylor, that is. He just wouldn't go away. He wouldn't go. He was among the leaders in the beginning of the day, but then sort of struggled, I think, at the end of round 3, and then most of his way through round 4. And then just at the end, man, this guy just birdied and birdied and birdied and came back and fucked me. I mean, and he just absolutely obliterated me. That's all I got for him. Really seems like a good guy otherwise. Canadian guy.
He won the RBC championship too.
Yes, he did.
That was the infamous where Adam Hadden got absolutely steamrolled by the security guard.
Yes, that's right.
He went to go celebrate with his friend, and then the guy just fucking. Remember that, Mikey?
Nick Taylor hit like a 45-foot putt to win that thing, right?
Which one?
Wild.
Oh yeah.
And then that big security guard.
Yeah, yeah, that was an old man. That guy, man. And you know what? You gotta, like, that guy was just trying to do his job. He didn't fucking know, but my God, is that bad optics at the end of the day? That's just bad optics. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I tell you
is.
what, Mikey, they might have needed that guy on the waste management for a little bit. He could have steamrolled a few
Dude,
people.
they needed something. They needed something. I got to tell you, as Arizona in general, the security is very, very porous. Very porous. Every place I went,
What a wild statement.
the security was porous. It was porous at the bars. It was porous at the tournament. It's just
Why would you
porous.
be expecting security at a bar though? Like what kind of security?
Nightclub, you
Tick,
need
tick.
security.
Oh, a
Ticket.
nightclub's different.
Well, no. I mean, I don't know if I would classify where we were as a nightclub. I would say it's a sports bar.
It's a club. It's a club.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
They're doing
Okay.
bottle service.
But there's
I mean,
there's a zillion TVs. I mean, that's a sports bar also.
Are you
So
talking about the Riot House? Or are you talking about
Riot
Draft
House,
No,
Riot
House.
House.
Okay. How
No,
was the-
DraftKings. I mean, DraftKings got great security. They got armed cops in there. I mean, they got legitimate.
They look
cops,
like
not
they were going to
security.
war. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's
that was
yeah, but you know what?
unbelievable.
I felt very safe in there. I felt very safe. Can't say the same everywhere else I was.
You're getting,
That's
you're
for
getting
sure.
treated like royalty in there too, though, which was nice.
All right, guys, let's get on to the viewer questions. We got a note here. Patrick Stewart, the guy who was asking us about proposal tips a while back, he got married, or he proposed and it went well.
Oh.
So congratulations,
Wow,
Patrick.
good for him.
Good for him. I'm sure that the tips that we gave didn't help at all, but glad to hear it went well.
Congratulations.
First question comes from Jake Sanders. Who are your way too early 2025 Super Bowl teams?
Way too early Super Bowl teams.
Yep.
Give me.
How many are we going to give? We got to cap that. We can't just start spitting out 100.
Well, the
teams,
Super
so-
Bowl's two teams, and one from the NFC.
Oh,
one from
you want to
the
do one
conference.
NFC, one AFC? Okay.
I think so.
I mean, it
I think
seems
so.
a little premature. I mean,
Well, that's why it's way too early, Joe. That's the point of this exercise.
That's correct.
It seems too early.
I'll go with the Buffalo Bills, and
I
I'll
like
go
that.
with
I don't.
I'll go with the Buffalo Bills versus.
I mean, I just like it because I hope it happens.
That's a different story.
Yeah. All right, Bills and
And the Chicago Bears. I'm joking.
You're-
I'm joking.
What a dick. What an absolute dick.
Give me the Eagles to come back.
Now you're still being a piece of shit. See, now you're still being a dick. That's all right, Mikey. Who do you got?
I'm the AFC. Listen. I'll do a futures Friday like I did this past year for only subs, but like and that I won't have rules. Like last year, I gave 3 teams; they were all AFC teams: Bengals, Chiefs, Ravens. But for these purposes, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm sorry, I'm going to take the Chiefs are going to be better next year. They're going to be better. They're going to get a receiver. They're going to get offensive lineup. They're going to get a couple more defenders. They're going to be better. So give me the Chiefs in the AFC. Now the NFC is a little bit tougher. I will say this. I don't think it'll be NFC East, although I don't, because I just don't see what the Eagles are going to do.
What about the Cowboys?
It just ended so poorly for the Eagles and Cowboys. That's why I'm kind of avoiding both of those teams. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to say that Green Bay.
I was going to say that, and I thought you guys would shit on me for it.
Green Bay could, if they
I don't
nail
hate
the
that.
offseason, could be a very, very scary team. I mean, shit, they should have beat San Francisco. They should have beat San
Imagine
Francisco.
the Packers got T. Higgins.
That's what, well, right. There's a lot of good free agents this year. I mean, you got Chris Jones, you got T. Higgins, you got Mike Evans. I mean, there's guys out there. There's,
Evans is the one that apparently they want to go after.
Josh Allen from Jacksonville
Jacksonville.
will be a free
Yeah.
agent. I mean, there's a lot of good free agents out there. So I think right now, gun to my head, give me Green Bay and give me the Chiefs. I mean, I don't see how you pick against the Kansas City Chiefs again. And I understand you want Buffalo to be there. I get that. But this was Buffalo's best shot. They had them at home. Allen was playing the best he had played all year. You had Diggs, you had Knox, you had Dalton Kincaid. The defense was fine. They weren't as banged up as they had been in years past. And you still lost. So to me, it's like the window in Buffalo, man, is inching close. I don't think it's opening. I think it's closing. And now all the drama with Diggs, and is he going to stay there? Is he not? I don't know. I don't know. That's just a team that scares me, man. I like them a lot. I picked them to beat the Chiefs this year in the playoffs, but I'm just very wary of them.
Well, the one thing about the Chiefs is they are losing Chris Jones, who's by far their best defensive player.
I don't know if that's true though. I don't
You think
know
they
if
might
that's
re-sign him?
now it's going to cost a boatload, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
If
I
you're
don't
Chris
know. I don't
Jones, though,
know.
do you
Says he wants
take
to
a
stay.
do
Says he
you
wants
take
to
a
stay.
little bit of a pay cut to be on a team that could easily win another Super Bowl?
Why the fuck not, dude? You're gonna be how much money do you
Just
really
didn't he get like
fucking
$1 million fucking bonus at
he's
the end
got
of the year?
forget about the bonuses. What about all the money he's gonna make from fucking from sponsorships and stuff
Subway.
like that? I mean,
Guy's
come
gonna be
on.
selling us sandwiches soon for sure.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, I'll go with I like the Chiefs too, but I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I'm not gonna buy into the Lamar
I
can't do
love
it.
the Ravens tick. I like that pick a lot. I think they can improve too.
They were the
Man,
best team all season, and the
I
second
know,
they
but man, did
lost,
he look terrible in that AFC
yeah,
title
he
game.
did.
He
Give
looked terrible.
Mikey, give him Derrick Henry next year. Now I know he's not the same guy he used to
Big
be.
dog.
I know
Big
he's not the
dog.
same guy he used to be, but
No, but they could use
sure
it
as shit better than whoever they've been running out there this past couple seasons.
well, they have to stay healthy. For some reason, their running backs always die. Baltimore. It's happened like the last 3
Half
years.
their team was hurt.
Dobbins died. Fucking the other guy died. Mitchell. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
just they are very, very snake bitten at that position with injuries. I don't know why.
Andrews getting hurt did not help either because
Yeah,
he came
yeah.
back, but he was a decoy. He was not.
They need a. I'm going to say I think Baltimore needs a running back, like Ticket said, to stay healthy, and I do think they need like a legit one receiver. I like Zay Flowers a lot, but that's a lot to ask of him as a second-year player now. Go out and maybe they get him. Mike Evans would be fucking tremendous in Baltimore.
My God.
I think that would be great for them. Mike, he's reliable. He's experienced. He's big, catch radius. I think that would be a home run for them. I don't think they're going to get Higgins. I think Higgins will go elsewhere. Could be wrong, but I don't think he'll go in the division. No, he can. He's a free agent. It's not like it's a trade, but Mike Evans, man, that would be interesting.
If you got to make that pick though, between we got money for a running back, we got money for a wide receiver. To me, it would make sense to spend that money on a running back, but I don't know. I mean,
you could draft an RB. I mean, these guys, you could draft a stud in the third round, second round. I mean, teams do it all the time. You know, it would be a great Baltimore running back, Blake Corum.
Yeah, it was just
Blake Corum would be a quintessential Baltimore Raven. His style of running, go play for the other Harbaugh brother. By the way, book the Corum pick to the Ravens. I think now I just spoke that.
He's going to be gone way before they get to him. Won't
you think so? You think he'll go that high in the first,
like
dude?
Top 20 guy.
I don't know if that happens anymore. Running backs in this league, unless you're really, really special coming out of college. And not to say Corum isn't, but dual threat wise, I don't know how he is catching the ball out of the backfield if he translates that well. I could see Baltimore like Corum, and I think that would be a home run pick for them.
There you go. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe you just spoke it into existence. I'm sure Baltimore
if it does, I'm going to need EA Sports to clip that.
That would be a wild prediction.
And then if they also
would fit in though. Hard nose, blood on his face. I actually really do like.
I do like
the
tickets.
Harbaugh brothers.
I do like tickets thing with Henry going there too. That could be pretty good.
Yeah, I like that also. I like.
But if they get Corum, they got to go out and get a Crabtree or a Mike Evans. Got to.
Yep.
If you're going to draft your RB, you've got to spend money somewhere, which I know that organization doesn't traditionally love to do, but you might have to because you got a window right now. Anyway, let's move on here. Thanks for the question there. Next one comes from Noah Devos. Who would survive the longest on Naked and Afraid, and/or what is the single best fast food item? Two completely different questions. Who would survive the longest on Naked and Afraid? Do we all know what that show is?
Ticket.
Yeah. You think I would last the longest?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Mikey, you're a hoss, dude.
No, yeah, but I don't like.
Yeah, he's not good with his hands.
What the fuck does that mean, Joe? What does that mean?
And plus, when you're that big, the blood flow that he's gonna be in the cold.
Wait. How am I not good with my hands? What does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't see you whittling wood into like.
Oh no, that's exactly. I'm not a survivalist.
That's what I'm saying. What is wrong with me saying that?
No, listen. If I have my home, if I have a bunker, I could survive that. But I can't be out on like some island or something like that.
Can you imagine this guy naked out there,
and shit.
6'7", I mean, you know, the blood flow from his head to toes, it would be.
That's why I said I instantly said ticket. Best fast food item for me is probably the Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. In terms of like the item that I go to the most often, I would say Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich.
I would say, I think Perez would last the longest. He's smart enough that he would figure out some devious way.
That 1480 would pay dividends out there.
And he's got some body fat to live off of for a little while.
That's horrible. That's just horrible, man.
He's dying.
He always is. He loves nobody loves his own jokes more than Joe.
Give me the Crunchwrap Supreme, his best fast food.
Oh, that's tremendous.
That's great.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's great.
I'll go with Joe. I think Joe would last the longest out there.
Get the fuck out of here.
I feel like I would just almost
think
get so
Joe,
mad I would not.
I think Joe is a
die.
survivor. I think Joe is a survivor.
Like a cockroach.
Sure. That's
hard to kill me.
That's one of many survivors. And then I'll go with it's a sandwich I get once a year because of how greasy and a heart attack it is. But
Baconator?
The Baconator, I think, from Wendy's is pound for pound the best sandwich in fast food. I've held that position for a long time. Yeah, that was good. Why don't you clip that up, Mr. EA Sports?
As soon as I heard greasy, that was the tell.
That was the tell. Bomb, dude. It's a bomb. All right, let's do one more. Lee Zenardini wants to know, if you all met yourself in college, what advice would you give yourself today?
None.
That we should end the show. We should end the show. End the show.
I turned out pretty good. I made it out.
No, don't.
It's like the butterfly effect. If I said anything else, it would change the course of history.
That's right. All right, folks.
I'm happy where I am.
I'll give a serious answer. I would say don't rush into anything. Don't rush into anything. Take your time. You have more time than you think you have until you don't. That's a Yogi Berra kind of yogiism. You got more time until you don't. Think about that.
Wow.
You got more time until you don't. Sure. Yeah.
You rush into things, Tick. You rush into things you don't know. You take your time. You got more time than you know.
I would feel the same way. I would like to tell that guy to not be so reactionary. If you feel like you've been fucked, don't build an entire person based on spite, which is sort of what I did. I sort of built a guy who was just ruthless with his personal life for a long time because I had felt fucked a long time ago. And I wish that I hadn't been so reactionary and curated a person based on really one single thing. And now that I've gained perspective in my life, I look back and I realize what a big part in me getting fucked actually was. It was almost more my fault than it was anybody else's. So yeah, I guess that plays in.
That's very profound, Tick.
It's very poignant. Very poignant.
Sure.
Poignant.
Just be patient. That's a good word. Hey, that's a 1480 word.
Sure.
That's a great one. All right, guys. Another good episode. Fun. I hadn't seen you guys in a long time. It was cool to catch up. Man. Yeah, I miss you guys too. Have fun in Daytona. I'll look forward to hearing how that goes. Have fun in the pace car. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube and the Instagram. Fire your questions into the Instagram, and Mr. Anderson will kick them back to us. We'll answer them at the end of each episode. But until next week, guys, take care. Have fun this weekend. Be safe, and we will see everyone next week.